Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Impact Review, March 21st. Now, this Impact, I originally was going to say was surprising. I can just say really it's more thorough than surprising. But there were certain things in here that was just not right. Let's get into why don't we get into the tag team match, the World Tag Team title match, which I was very happy. I was glad that I believe they're called Dirty Heels now. Austin Aries and Robert Roode. I'm very happy that they're being called Dirty Heels. I called them the Iconic Ones, but you know what? Dirty Heels is all right. It's not a bad name for them. The match itself was not bad, and they retain. But what makes me very happy is the match I've been wanting, and hopefully they will do a very good job on the segments after this has been finally made. Bad Influence against Dirty Heels. Oh yes, I've been waiting for this mess. I am happy to see the Dirty Heels is going to be going up against Bad Influence. Two of the only tag teams that we have that are entertaining, can talk on the mic, can do very good segments in the back, in the ring. They can do a good story in the ring. Who do I want to win? I don't know. I don't care. Either one of them can either retain or can win. It makes no difference. Both these teams are interesting. Kaz and Daniels are not boring. So I'm very happy to see this. And the stereotypicals of, well, Chavo and Superman are just an afterthought. They're just a prop, which I don't mind. Now, what makes no sense to me, as I said earlier, the X Division Triple Threat Elimination Match. Now, there's nothing wrong with having an X Division match. No. There's nothing wrong with presenting the X Division. The pre-tape for the X Division, now the X Division Revolution, was very nicely done. I really enjoyed it until I saw what the stipulation was for the match for the world title. Well, not the world title, the X Division title. You got the champion and two challengers. If the champion loses or gets submitted or gets pinned, he's lost his title. Okay, that I understand. If one of the other two gets submitted and then gets pinned, that person is eliminated, and the other person, he gets to stay on to go into the next X Division Triple Threat. Problem here. It's nothing wrong with that if it's done once in a while. That's actually a nice stipulation for the X Division. If you once in a while have a triple threat, the person who wasn't pinned or submitted, that would be a nice thing, so they would get a second shot. But if this is done every single time that the X Division Championship is going to be contested in a ring, I can say this. Short term is a great idea. Long term, not so much. People like something they don't usually see all the time. Something surprising. Now, I believe this is done because they want to boost their ratings. I understand that. They're more driven by ratings on the show than they are on pay-per-views. But the problem is this. Short term, for a couple of months, people will be interested if they show it constantly. But after a couple of months, people are going to be tired of it. For the simple fact, you can't have a triple threat every single time the X Division is contested. If you do, people will find it common and boring. It'll be like an Immortal segment. It'll be like an Aces and Eights segment that's very long. Hell, it could be like a Triple H segment that's 30 minutes long. I understand God is very special, and he must have his time. And he must have his time to say all that he wishes to preach to the masses. But here's the problem. Eventually, if you do it every single week, it gets tiring. So this X Division Triple Threat Elimination will work for the first couple of months, and then they're going to realize it's a bad thing because the shares during that segment is going to go down because they've seen it so many times. No matter where you go, it's going to turn people off unless there's some type of twist to it. But I don't think there is. Sanjay Dutt was great. Zema Ion, which I said was important to start showing him, okay. Oh, long live the king, baby. My Kenny King, the king of professional wrestling. He won. He retained. So we will have another X Division triple threat match. Now that Sanjay Dutt had jobbed, it's going to be Zema Ion with someone else and Kenny King. This is a possibility that they're actually doing this for Zema Ion. They need to get Zema Ion on television. Well, TNA, why don't you just put him on television? You didn't need to do this. But if it does lead into Zema Ion eventually getting a title and the Jesse Sorensen coming back, I don't have too much of a problem with it for now. Like I said, long term is a bad idea. Short term, it's going to boost their ratings. Now, what do we have here? We have here the segment of AJ Styles. Now, last week we know that AJ cold-cocked James Storm. And to Dick Storm, if he does see this, my friend, I'm sorry your cousin got cold-cocked last week. But he showed how great he is as a great cowboy. He shows that the storm does not end just because you see the skies clearing. The skies will always be cloudy and destructive with a storm in the mix. That was pretty good. But tell me if that sounded alright. But you know what? The AJ segment was actually very good. You know why? Because he didn't say a damn thing. Now, in some cases, you need to talk. Like I always say with a Superman, Hernandez. If he's in a really good feud with someone, and he has to talk from time to time. Mexican America, he barely talked or didn't talk at all. Once in the last 6 months, he talked when he was with Chavo, when he went up against Austin Aries. He only talked once. Talking going into the ring doesn't count because we can't hear it. So in this case, and AJ Styles not talking was actually wise to do right now. Now, Taz being used in this segment goes with the storyline of Aces and Eights, and I will get to that later. But I have to mention Taz, that he offers a plain Aces and Eights vest to an AJ Styles. We know that Mr. Anderson talked to him when the producer of TNA, or correspondent for TNA, went to where he was and was told to get out. Now, there was no violence. Mike the TNA, he did his job like he's supposed to. He asked what's going on and never got an answer. James Storm asked and he get no answer. He did say, I'll knock your teeth down your throat. You better start working, boy. You better start working it because I'm going to knock your teeth down your throat. In not so many words. Then he walks out of the ring and then goes up to the back. I say for now, it's very good. Having a dark side AJ could be a monster if they present this properly. It's obvious they're going to leave James Storm in there for this feud, which I'm very happy. James Storm has been underutilized for months now, and I'm so happy they're doing it. Now, them saying that AJ's now drinking, hopefully they'll start showing him actually being in a bar drinking. You need to promote that if you want this storyline to work. And that's okay. Now, Terrence Terrell. She got a nice body. Good looking, dirty blonde woman. And for months they've been teasing Gail Kim going up against her. Now, who do I think is better looking between Gail Kim and Terrence Terrell? Terrence does have much more curves than a Gail Kim. So I could say, because she got nicer boobs, they're bigger, that it should be Terrence Terrell. I couldn't really see if this time around Gail Kim was aroused being in the ring. I've said this before, that wrestlers, men and women, do get aroused in the ring. It's not always about that person they're working with, just the excitement of the crowd. Now, I thought I did see her a bit aroused, her nipples sticking through her dress. I could be wrong. You can go and check it for yourself. But it did kind of look like she was aroused again because it was so exciting being in the Chicago area. This is a pre-tape. Like I said in my What Should TNA Do for their 4-year scheduled pay-per-views, do one pre-tape and one live show. At least 2 live shows and 2 pre-tapes monthly. That would save them a lot of time. Unlike the WWE, that they do so much live stuff along with pre-tape, it's ridiculous. So seeing this was actually quite good. It's good to see a pre-tape. Now, we find out that Terrence Terrell is no longer a knockout. The question is, who are they going to have as a ref? It might just be Earl Hebner again, or maybe it might be Brian Hebner, his son. Well, supposedly his son. But the point is that she's no longer a ref. She's now a knockout. She spears Gail Kim and kicks her ass and then chases her into the back. That's understandable. This is the only feud we currently have with the knockouts. I hope they start building more. Maybe something with I really hope a Mickie Jane and Miss Tessmacher feud. Turn Mickie heel, please, TNA. Turn her heel and let her go after Miss Tessmacher. Why? Miss Tessmacher will be a great catalyst for her to become a lesbian again. And the lesbian angle with a wonderful, a beautiful Powhatan Indian woman and a Mickie Jane will be very entertaining. I'm sure of it. But what happens after Kim and a Terrence Terrell run to the back, you got a Bully Ray coming out. Basically saying, till death do us part. She says, I hate you. I would have thought that she smack him and then run. Most women would try and smack and beat the shit out of you and still lose. Not all women would lose in the fight, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not saying that. You got a very large woman in a Brooke Hogan. I don't mean fat. She's a big woman. She's at least near 6 foot tall or is 6 foot. At least from what I can tell. In heels, she's taller than Bully Ray. And Bully Ray's 6 foot tall at least. She's taller in heels. So that tells you something, that she could at least whack someone in the face really good. She's not a small woman. That's what I was kind of expecting. Because the segment for her, when she did come into the Impact Arena, well, you know, the one in Chicago, she really didn't say much. Now, I said in my last review, and I spoke about a YouTuber called Ms. Impact. Saying it again, Ms. Impact, I'm sorry. You're one of the few women I've seen on YouTube, and I know there are many other women that love Brooke Hogan and love Impact and wrestling in general. But I feel that getting the woman's perspective is a good thing. Seeing how much she really loves the business and how Brooke is pretty much... Look, I'm going to make this really clear. I've said this before. Brooke is new into wrestling. She used to sing. I believe she even used to model at one point. No one knows how good she could be as an actress. Or maybe she might even try to become a wrestler herself. I don't know if she ever would. But the point is, being Hulk Hogan's daughter, it makes it difficult for her to get somewhere. It's hard enough as a son to get into the business. It's not easy. Many people who try to get into the business do get pushed to the top, but then they find they're not good enough to do the job. Or many people get resentful because they're a very famous wrestler's child. In this case, Brooke Hogan, really no one knows how good she could truly be yet, because she hasn't really been given an option or an opportunity to show it yet. I would have wanted a promo segment from her. Not these 2 very short segments where she barely talks at all, and then she has to act in a way that really doesn't give her an opportunity to show she has variation, to really put herself over or the person she's working with over either. So I really can't say she's a piece of shit. I can't. She's not given that option or opportunity yet. Like I said before, I don't know if they're going to let her have that opportunity. She's in the Aces and Eights storyline, but have we heard much from her? That short segment was bullshit. Saying, I don't want to talk about it. She needs to talk about it. She just got screwed by her husband. He says, till death do us part. What about a divorce? Are they going to do that on this show? Are they going to keep them married? Are they just going to fade the thing away and no one's ever going to be allowed to remember that they were married once? I don't know. And I find it empty. She must be allowed to talk. Even if she's terrible, we need to know what she can do. So I'm going to move on. Now, the Morgan and Park match. I said Morgan has to be beast, and in general he was. Joseph Park got a couple blows in, but in the end he loses to Matt Morgan, who needs to be pushed. Now the question is this: what are they going to do with these two? Really, this is a good question. I don't know what's going to happen between a Matt Morgan and a Joseph Park. Will they pursue this feud more? Will Joseph Park do something else? Will the Abyss character start reinserting himself back into a Joseph Park? I have a feeling that I don't think they're going to be pushing the Abyss character for quite a while. I have a feeling that the guy who's playing Abyss and who's playing Joseph Park rather stay as Joseph Park for maybe a while, maybe at least a year. Which I can understand that. Joseph Park is already over and there's not much of a problem with that. Maybe he doesn't want to take his teeth out. That sounds silly, but you know what? There's some guys that really doesn't want to go down that route anymore. If they have to have no teeth missing, they get tired of it. That sounds a little silly, but you never know. Maybe he just doesn't want to go back to the Abyss character anymore and he just wants to be Joseph Park permanently. We'll know in time. But I'm hoping they'll keep building up Joseph Park and they'll keep building up Matt Morgan. Maybe they'll do Matt Morgan more as a heel now. I'm really hoping. But it's kind of hard to tell with TNA, and particularly what they did with the X Division. Like I said, short-term gains, long-term loss. At least that's my perspective. Now, I wish to say that the Chicago crowd again was great throughout the night. There wasn't that many matches. There wasn't. But it still was great to see the crowd. I do believe TNA needs to pan more of the crowd. They're not panning enough. You need to show the vastness of it. They're still kind of narrow in their viewing of the crowd and of the fans. I'm hoping they'll understand they need to expand that. And the Titantron, lovely. I'm glad they're not using those two smaller Titantrons on the side. I'm glad they're using the large, full bannered Titantron. That's a good thing, TNA. I give you it. I give you it, baby. Now, what else? I wish to say that we did not see a Rob Terry or Robbie E. We didn't see an Eli. We didn't see an ODB, Miss Beautiful Big Boobs herself. We didn't see those people. And I really believe they could have fit them in on the show. At least Eli, to see if he's going to be a more serious character. I have a feeling that was only a one-time thing. What was the point of doing it in the first place? If it's only one time. Really. I'm hoping they'll expand on it. Maybe next week they'll show him. Because the entire show was dominated again by aces and eights. Now, I said in the beginning of this show, my review of the show, that we didn't get an exciting show. Not really. We didn't get great amount of matches. Not really. We didn't get that many matches. I mean, how many matches did we get? I think about 3, maybe 4 matches. We didn't get that many. Not really. Did we get great matches? No, they weren't bad. They were good matches, but they weren't great. Was the Aces and Eights segments exciting? No. But were they thorough? Yes. This is the only thing I'm saying that I'm tired of Aces and Eights. I'm no different than anybody else. This faction for at least 9 months sucks so bad now. Who wants to see it? But if they're going to go with this, they need to make sure they clarify everything that they're doing. Storytelling by giving a little backstory. And that's what Bully Ray did throughout the night. Bully Ray periodically appeared to give background stories to what happened. How the Aces and Eights, not how the Aces and Eights just get started, but who he brought in, why he brought them in. He talked about Garrett Briscoe. I mean, not Garrett Briscoe. Garrett Bischoff. They're kind of both the same, so I'm kind of mixing Garrett and Wes Briscoe together. I did call them the heel twins for a reason. One is usually not without the other. In some form of capacity, they're always stuck together. So they talked about Wes Briscoe. They talked about Garrett Bischoff. They talked about how both of them got screwed. They talked about how Devon got screwed. How Bully Ray took some for the team, got his ass kicked. Got Brooke Hogan. And this is where I really believe Brooke Hogan should have been allowed to talk. Because it still doesn't tie together properly with Brooke Hogan and her frustrations and her anger about this. Her dad, yes, but not her. Which I really think they made a seriously bad mistake again. Last week they should have allowed her to talk. This week they should have allowed her to talk. Are they going to let her talk next week? That just negates a lot of the steam they had from the very first part of Knockdown to the end. Really. So, it was explained. Was that great storytelling? No, but it was thorough. Sometimes you need to have some thorough storytelling so people can understand the reason why the guy did it in the first place. So I'm going to leave it at that. Now, how do I rate this show? Really, if Bully Ray did not do the background to why he did everything he did, I would say this is a C+ show. Really, C+. There was nothing here that was great. The exhibition was a nice match, but the stipulation that's now supposedly permanent with it is bad. It is. We didn't see Rob Terry, who's supposed to be pushed by now. We didn't see Eli to wonder if he's become more serious. The Aces and Eights segments were periodic through the night, and a lot of it. And I wasn't too fond of it. Yes, Hulk Hogan did show respect to all the guys who was at the final match of the night. But really, he didn't really make much sense saying that I didn't know what I was doing when I made the first Fatal 4-Way. But this time I'm going to get it right, brother. Why didn't you let Sting do it? In a sense, he's the assistant manager anyway. And then the Sting segment, we still don't know what's going to happen with these two. We don't. So I'm going to give this a B-. The reason I'm giving it as a B- is that Bully Ray explained what needed to be explained. Now, like I said, this Aces and Eights faction sucks. I hate it. But if you're going to go with this shit, you still need to make sure people understand it. The casual fans needed that background. They needed it. So I'm going to leave it at that. So I hope you enjoyed the Zane View. Subscribe and comment to my channel, ladies and gentlemen. I wish to say I'm thankful for everyone giving their comments. I'm thankful that you've been willing to look at my shows. And I'm very happy about it. I hope to see you for my SmackDown review, which will be coming actually today. Well, not today. Maybe if I can get it done tonight, I'll get it done tomorrow. So you have a good day and take care.